this video I'm going to show you the best food for whitetails and how it'll help and grow your deer herd. So as you can see, we have some snow on the food plot right here. It's actually starting to melt and go away. But the food plot really didn't do great this year. Really around November, the last week in November, it really started dying out. And I know the reason is because there was a lot of weeds in here, and I just didn't really know how to control those weeds. But this year it should be a little bit better in having some input on how and what happens when you do have weeds in your food plots. So hopefully this year it'll do a lot better, and I've actually ordered some seeds just yesterday, and I'll talk a little bit more about what I ordered. But so the best food for whitetails in growing your whitetail herd, growing bigger bucks, my almost favorite seed to plant in food plots is clover. And if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that I have a micro food plot about 100 yards back that way, 150 yards, something like that. And it is all clover. And that was a really good attractant, shot my target buck that year out of it, and was able to strategize, put that in a great place, get in on a rut hunt, and he came right into it. So, and I actually shot an early season button buck that year too. Unfortunately, the coyotes got to him, so I wasn't able to get the meat off of him and stuff. But that clover did really well, and it's a perennial, which comes back every year. Annuals do not come back every year. Perennials do. It's kind of funny because annuals, you would think that means year-round, but it's not. Perennials are year-round. Annuals come back every year. Perennials come back every year for probably up to 5 years. I know clover comes up for about 5 years until you should or need to replant. And annuals, only like the brassicas, forage peas, everything we planted in here is an annual, so I'm going to have to replant that this next year, or in this year. And I mean, I like doing it. It's fun. I could care less if it comes back up, because I like ordering new seeds, experimenting with new seeds, how the deer react to it, if they like it better than such and such brassicas, winter peas, or forage peas. But we're still going to plant brassicas, winter peas, and forage peas, but we're going to add on to the food plot. Maybe even clear some, expand on the food plot too. Not too much, because I want them to have staging areas coming into the food plot. But we're definitely going to have switchgrass screen around here. So this food plot's hopefully going to be looking really nice in this next season, and especially the season after that in 2 years. So can't wait to do that and plant switchgrass. But switchgrass is another topic that I'd like to get to in another video. But clover is a really, really good food for whitetails, and I've even heard, I'm not 100% sure about this, but I've even heard it's good for antler growth, and kind of has some minerals in there that helps bucks get bigger antlers. But don't take my word for that, but it could definitely help. It will definitely help them in their antler growth, but any food will help them in their antler growth. And food is really critical during the rut, and especially after the rut. Bucks lose 20% of their body fat during the rut, and deer feed 5 times a day, so that's a lot of food. Especially, and it's really nice if you have ag fields around and you have your food plots too. This is a fourth of an acre food plot, and I'd really like to plant corn in here. Not this season, because we're going to have corn in the ag fields, and I'm going to be able to hunt over the ag fields. But corn is definitely my favorite food to put out for deer. Now, I don't do it in the food plot because we have ag fields surrounding us everywhere, and they have plenty of corn. This is more like just screen stuff, greens for them, that besides corn, like deer get a lot of their water out of what they eat, especially these greens like peas, brassicas, green leafy tops from sugar beets and stuff like that. And so my plan for this year with the food plot is I'm going to be winter peas, forage peas, and brassicas, just like I did but I'm actually going to be adding some turnips and some sugar beets. Now, sugar beets aren't good for every food plot, and you need to really make sure you're looking into those, especially sugar beets and brassicas. You do not plant those together. Sugar beets will definitely outgrow the brassicas. You do not want to plant those together. I want to have the brassicas and sugar beets on opposite ends of the food plot, and just so they don't outcompete each other, don't grow close to each other. But sugar beets can be a big money waster, but in this particular area and what I have set up and how the brassicas did not make it through the winter, that's why, because I want some sugar beets for them during the winter, so that way they have something to eat. That's why I have something to hunt over during the winter months, hunt over the food. And so, but clover, definitely corn and clover are probably my top two things of food that I put out for whitetails, and that's really good for whitetails growing the herd, and just good to hunt over in general, a good attraction. And so number 3 is greens, and greens like brassicas, winter peas, forage peas, clover. There's a lot of other greens that can't really think of right now, but there are tons of greens that you can get for your food plots and that deer will love. And greens are really good for the early season, but they will die out during the late season, which is why you need to have brassicas and possibly sugar beets if you need them in your food plots. But this is a really great spot, and the brassicas really didn't hold up to the winter, so that's why I want to plant sugar beets and turnips, so hopefully they'll hold up. But clover and corn are the best, in my opinion, for whitetail food. And beans I really don't care for that much. We had bean fields all around us this year. I wanted to plant corn in here, but I just wasn't able to. But we had beans all around here, and you would think, these beans, they're going to bring in the deer. They did not at all. The food plot was the main attraction, which is also kind of good because you can define the movement really well, because you know they're going to come into this food plot during the evening. But they really didn't feed on the beans that much, and we had neighboring cornfields, and the deer loved those cornfields. They were hitting them hard because corn will outcompete pretty much every other food out there. The deer love corn. Tons. They'll rip the ears off of the corn and they'll eat them. I've seen fields back in deep woods. Can't believe they even get a combine in there. And you should see how much the deer eat up that corn. So if you have ag fields around you and you have beans in them, I would strongly suggest that you plant just even a little quarter of your food plot in corn, because that'll be a huge attraction, especially when you're in your stand. That's a great way to shoot your target buck, or any buck you're after for that matter. And having that diversity of greens over here, winter greens over here, corn over here, and winter rye, winter wheat, all those things come into play, and they can really help your deer herd and help you grow them this falling season and for seasons to come.